What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 327, Procházka versus Ulberg. I haven't made a video in probably 5 or 6 weeks, but this card, genuinely, I'm pretty jazzed up about, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit and break it down. So let's just jump right in. Big card in Miami. Maybe not the biggest card for name value or rankings, but there's just a lot of matchups that I think are pretty fun, and I'm kind of excited to talk about. So let's jump right into it. At welterweight, opening up the card, Charles Radke taking on Francisco Prado. Big favorite for Charles Radke here. Francisco Prado is a guy I have kind of believed in a little bit too much. And as you can see, it has not paid dividends, I will say. He's a real tough kid. He's got good power, and he pushes really, really hard. I bet on him a few times, and he does fight for the coin for sure. But he doesn't get the results you like or want from a guy this young in his career. And I kind of feel like he's going to lose to Charles Radke here. Charles Radke just beat Daniel Frunza, who I think is pretty dog shit, so I don't really care too much. Lost to Mike Mallet, who's pretty good. But I think Charles Radke, one of the most underrated things about him is he's just got solid grappling, man. His wrestling is actually quite nice, as well as his striking is pretty good. He's going to be the bigger guy here. I know it says that Prado is taller than him. I really don't fucking think so, to be honest. Prado does not look like a welterweight at all, and Charles Radke does. I'll just leave it at that. I think this is probably going to be like a Charles Radke decision here. I think there could be moments where maybe Prado has, a good round or lands some damage. Charles Radke's capable of landing damage as well, but Prado's got a head just made out of fucking concrete. And in hindsight, losing to Daniel Zellhuber is horrible. I have to go with Charles Radke here. This is one fight where I'm not going to believe in Francisco Prado, and he's going to chin Charles Radke and win, and I'm going to look like a total jerk-off. But I'm going with Charles Radke decision here. Seems like people tend to agree with that. I just trust him a little bit more. He's not a young guy particularly, but I think he's got a more well-rounded skill set, and I think he is a true welterweight, where I think Prado is... I think he is a lightweight, man. And he's kind of a small lightweight, too, to be honest. He's like Kevin Vallejo's size, low-key, when I look at him. Moving up to middleweight, this one's going to make me sad. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Vicente Luque. Kelvin Gastelum is probably going to win. Both of these guys are pretty washed, but Luque is just like uber duper mega washed, I feel like. He beat Timba Garimba, who's horrible, and beat RDA a long time ago, and RDA is uber washed, so just kind of, I just don't see a path to victory really for Luque. I would love for him to win. He's one of my favorite welterweight fighters of all time. But Kelvin Gastelum, I think he's just got a little bit more to give. Coming off a win over Dustin Stoltzfus, who is a real middleweight, real big, strong, powerful guy. Looked pretty decent in that matchup. Lost to Joe Pyfer by decision. Was putting on Pyfer a little bit at the end of this fight after getting hurt early. And we just saw Pyfer destroy Israel I Can Only Fight guys. 5'11" and under Adesanya in 2 rounds. So, it's not that bad of a loss. Beat D-Rod in kind of a stinky performance, to be honest. I thought he looked horrible here. Lost to Sean Brady, But, Luque, this Joel Alvarez performance was miserable to watch. Losing to Kevin Holland in any capacity means you're probably horrible or completely washed. And then Joaquin Buckley just kind of quit on the floor. I'm going with Kelvin Gastelum probably by TKO here. I think he's probably going to catch Luque with a shot. Luque might fall to his back or maybe kind of pull guard or something, and Kelvin just finishes him with a ground and pound. Not a lot of people picking Gastelum TKO, which is understandable. I feel like odds are he probably wins the decision here if he wins, and he should win. But I'm going to be bold and go for the TKO prediction to maybe ground and pound follow-up shots. Luque is not really out, but he's just he just shies away from taking shots the same way he used to. Moving up to lightweight, Markel Medeiros taking on Chris Padilla. Ooh, big favorite for Chris Padilla. I think this is the first time he's ever been one. kind of want to go with Markel Medeiros just based off of that. Chris Padilla is a guy who I haven't thought was like the best ever, but he's proved me wrong, and I kind of became a believer. I think I picked him to win his last 2 fights as an underdog. I did. Rong Zhu, this fight I think was a fluke, to be honest with you. I just feel like it's an insanely low variance, is that the right term, to land the elbow and then have it get stopped by the doctor on Rong Zhu. And then just subbed up James Lontop. I think Markel Medeiros, though, is pretty well-rounded. I think he's pretty good. He's a young guy. He trains at a good team, Factory X Muay Thai. I think he's well-rounded. I think he's one of these guys who's kind of... he doesn't really have a deficit anywhere in his game, particularly. I think he's good over 3 rounds. He's not going to quit like a guy like Bonfim does. You know, he's not just a striker like a guy like Jai Herbert is, or like a guy like Rong Zhu is, or like a guy like Lontop is. I think he's pretty solid overall, and I think Chris Padilla is the guy who can capitalize on the weaknesses of some of the guys he's fighting. You know, kind of puts, you know, kind of outdogs Bonfim, who's known to be a quitter, grapples James Lontop, who's just basically a fat boxer. You know what I mean? I'm going to go with Markel Medeiros here. This line, if these guys were evens, I'd probably lean towards a Padilla pick here. But I like this line for Markel Medeiros, and I think he'll look better than plus 170. I think this fight will probably go the distance here, and I'm going to say Markel Medeiros wins this fight by split decision here. I think he's going to be a pretty competitive fight for all 3. Moving up to women's strawweight, Tatiana Suarez taking on Lupi Godinez. Tricky one here because Tatiana Suarez is, once again, we're dealing with somebody who is, in my opinion, mega washed. Granted, it's not really her fault. Her career has been kind of like fucked by illness and injuries, to be honest. That's why I picked Zhang Weili as an underdog when she got her title shot in her comeback fight. I just wasn't super confident in her being in her best form, and I was right to do that because she was not, and she still, I don't think, is. This made the Lemos fight, if you score off damage, I don't think you give it to Tatiana Suarez, if I can be candid with you as somebody who picked her to win. So I worry about that. Lupi Godinez is pretty good, pretty well-rounded, I would say. Her grappling is solid. Her jiu-jitsu defense is solid enough. Her wrestling defense, I don't think will be enough. She will get taken down in this fight. Tatiana Suarez is a better wrestler, purely, just plain and simple. She's the bigger lady, and I think she's just a better MMA wrestler for sure. On the feet, I think Lupi Godinez is a much better striker. I think Tatiana Suarez is a victim on the feet, pretty much. And Lupi Godinez showed pretty fucking great boxing against Jessica Andrade. She showed good boxing against Julia Pilastri. And then lost to Mackenzie Dern, who's the current champ of this division. And then Berna Jandiroba, who is, a top contender who just got another win as a top contender and fought the current champion for 5 rounds for the belt, And beat Tabitha Ritchie in a split, which is kind of ugly because I think Tabitha Ritchie's horrible, but that was a long time ago. I'm inclined, honestly, I kind of want to pick Lupi Godinez. Is that crazy? This is definitely a step down for Tatiana Suarez, I think. I think Lemos is a step down. Or Lupi Godinez is a step down from Lemos, because Lemos is just wildly dangerous. But I think Lupi Godinez gives up a little bit of that danger factor, and I think she's a little bit more capable in the wrestling defense, which is something that Lemos has struggled with. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a tricky one. That's why I like this card. There's a lot of fights where I can see either person winning, and that makes for more engaging matchups, I feel like. A part of me wants to be cute and pick the underdog. There's a lot of underdogs I like on this card, and I will be candid with you fellas. I haven't really done very much tape for this card just because I had no plans of doing a video or anything like that. I am going to still watch and do a little bit a study just because I'm going to be betting on this card probably later today or tomorrow, but I haven't really done that much. So a lot of these picks are just going off pure vibes right now. Fuck, man. 35, huh? We've taken a lot of damage in our last 2 fights as well. I mean, she was getting beat the fuck up by Zhang Weili, and Lemos landed some good shots on her as well. But I do feel like this is kind of a discounted line. I mean, minus 150 for Tatiana Suarez. I mean, she was the fucking favorite to beat Zhang Weili, no? Now she's barely a favorite to beat Lupi Godinez. I think that's value. I think I'm going to go with Tatiana Suarez. I was really thinking about picking Lupi Godinez as an underdog. I feel like she's a good underdog here. But when I put it in the context of they were giving me her as a favorite over Zhang Weili, and now they're giving me minus 150 against Lupi Godinez, I mean, fuck. I'll pick Tatiana Suarez to when she wins a decision, she outgrapples her and controls her for 3 rounds. Now, unless they decide to score off damage, and then they'll give it to Lupi Godinez. They didn't score off damage in this Limos matchup and gave it to Suarez. We're gonna hope that they don't score off a damage in this one because it's women's MMA, and they give it to Tatiana Suarez. Moving up to lightweight, here's another fight where I could potentially be looking at an underdog pick, but I'm not sure. Like, it's just a very weird and interesting matchup to me. Mateusz Gamrot taking on Esteban Ribovic, the volume strike king. Man, this is a tricky one because Mateusz Gamrot, the curious case of Mateusz Gamrot, this is a guy who gets, hurt in every single fight that he wins, basically. Like, he's been dropped 1,000 times. But he's a guy who, he's he's got great recovery, and he will push a great pace. I don't think the pace is going to be too much for Ribovic. I think Ribovic has elite cardio and really, really, really good pace and pressure as well. I think he is a more durable guy by far. I think he's a more powerful striker by far. But he has always kind of struggled with the takedown defense, and that's kind of the biggest red flag for me here in this matchup. But when I look at Mateusz Gamrot's losses and wins, this loss sticks out to me Dan Hooker can't stop a takedown to save his fucking life, and we're losing to him by decision. Esteban can't stop a takedown either, but he could just employ the Dan Hooker strategy of simply just threatening a guillotine on the shot, and he will just stop, I guess, for some reason. But then he beats Ludwig Klein, who, in my opinion, I think is a better fighter than Ribovic. He's definitely more technical on the feet. I think he's probably physically stronger. I think he's probably got a little bit better takedown defense as well. And Mateusz Gamrot beats him pretty clearly. Which, these two fights back-to-back is interesting to me. Because if we're beating Ludwig Klein, but we're losing to Dan Hooker. And then, obviously, he got destroyed by Charles Oliveira. But Charles Oliveira still got it, man. My GOAT still got it, so we're not worried about that. My logical brain just says Mateusz Gamrot can win minutes here. Because I don't think Mateusz Gamrot's striking is that bad. I actually think his boxing is pretty decent, and it's been looking okay. Like in the Dan Hooker fight, I watched this not that long ago when this matchup was made. This is one of the fights that I did kind of watch and look into. His boxing was looking good against Dan Hooker. He was really landing good shots. So I think he's capable enough on the feet. I just worry about his durability, right? I like giving him a full camp here. And, Esteban Ribovic, when I look at, his wins, Elvis Brenner's pretty solid. We got robbed against Hagpras pretty badly. I do not love the split to Zellhuber because at this point I am completely out on Zellhuber as a fighter. I think he fucking sucks. Losing to the Unk duo of Bobby Green and Michael Johnson back-to-back as a 6'1" lightweight prospect, you might be horrible. I cannot lie. Terrence McKinney chinned him brutally. And Terrence McKinney's not an easy guy to out Terrence McKinney, you know what I mean? But I just think I'm going to slightly lean with Gamrot here. Full camp Gamrot, I think. What's the line here? Yeah, I'm kind of with the line here. I think just a slight edge to Gamrot here just because he has such a clear advantage in the grappling, or at least he should. Whereas I think he can compete at least moderately well with Ribovic on the feet. However, his durability is, of course, spotty at best. I'm going to go with Gamrot by decision. Moving up to welterweight, Kevin Holland taking on Randy Brown. This is a pretty good matchup here. I think this will be a pretty fun fight. Lined really close, and I'm not too sure why, if I can be honest with you. I'm going with Randy Brown here. I know Randy Brown's not the most durable guy on planet Earth. I think that's probably his biggest weakness is his chin, legitimately. However, Kevin Holland's a guy who's been, known for the chin. He's fought like a guy with a really good chin for a very long time. And in his last couple of fights, especially his Daniel Rodriguez fight right here, man, I think his durability legit might be waning a little bit. Like, I don't like how badly he was hurt by D-Rod in the fight. I think he was a massive favorite. A massive, massive favorite. And he looked horrible. Then he loses to Mike Mallet. I mean, Mike Mallet's pretty good. I'm not surprised he lost to Mike Mallet. I like Randy Brown here. I think he's fought a better level of competition. I mean, he lost to Gabriel Bonfim, who's really, I think, really good and underrated, honestly. Beat Nicholas Dalby, chinned him. Nicholas Dalby, honestly, right now, probably beats Kevin Holland. As somebody who picked and bet on Brian Battle, I think he got gifted a decision in this fight. Beat Zaleski Dos Santos, who's really quite good. And Muslim Salikov's not too shabby, man, to go out there and chin him. I mean, he chinned Carlos Leal and killed him. So, that's not that bad. I just think this fight's largely going to be just a striking contest, and I favor Randy Brown. I favor his boxing. I think his boxing is just a little bit better. I think his timing with his shots is a little bit better. I don't think his durability is very good, but I don't think Kevin Holland's durability is necessarily as good as it once was. So I think this will probably be a shootout. I honestly think Randy Brown can win this fight. It sounds crazy, but I might pick him by TKO legitimately. Yeah, we'll be bold. I'll say Randy Brown TKO. I think he'll find a shot on Kevin Holland to hurt him and finish him with a ground and pound. Fuck it. Moving up to featherweight, still on the prelims. Patricio Pitbull taking on the returning Aaron Pico. Big favorite for Aaron Pico, and a lot of people are confused by this. And this is the curious case of Aaron Pico, right? Because he's quite literally better than Patricio Pitbull pretty much everywhere. The only downside and deficit to Aaron Pico is that he fights like a fucking idiot and he has a legitimate chin of glass. Like, he's got nasty power, nasty boxing, good hand speed, great wrestling. Like, he's legitimately a very good, well-rounded fighter. It's just he fights, like, he implements the pressure style of Yuri Procházka, and he has, like, the chin of Johnny Walker. Like, we're just legit brain dead. I don't know. Like, every loss he's had, he's been brutally chinned, right? But just, I think Patricio Pitbull at 39, basically, at featherweight, is just pretty washed, and I think we get a more reserved technical performance from Aaron Pico here, where he's not crashing in like he was against Lerone Murphy. I think he's going to try and fight this one a little bit smarter, and if he takes his time and just uses his skill set, instead of trying to rush something that's not there against a top contender like he did against Lerone Murphy, I think he just wins this fight. A matter of fact, I think he can chin Pitbull bad. Of course, Pitbull can chin him, but like if Aaron Pico were like standing right in front of me and if I were allowed to throw like a left hook, I'd probably knock him out, like legitimately. His chin's just not very good. But like I think more likely than not, I think Aaron Pico can chin Patricio Pitbull. I think his boxing is nasty. His power is really good. His hand speed is incredible. I think Aaron Pico is really good, man. I think he just has to change the style up a little bit. I like guys who... My favorite style of fighter is like a pressure guy. A guy who gets in your face. But like I just don't think Pico... I don't think he's got the tools for that. And the tool is just a better defense and a good chin. A lot of the time. I think his striking defense at times is a little bit meh. And obviously, I've touched on it a lot. I just don't think the chin's the greatest. But I think he is like a more skillful fighter at this point in his career right now, overall, than Patricio Pitbull. I'm going to go with Aaron Pico by knockout. It seems like people are agreeing with me. I think Pico wins this fight, man. I don't want to disrespect Patricio Pitbull. He's got infinite experience. But I just... like the Dan Ige fight, nothing happened, and he looked pretty shit. He looked really shit against Yair Rodriguez. Then we're talking about fights in Bellator from 2 years ago I'm not too interested in. And he lost a couple of these fights. So... I just think, like, Prime Pitbull, we could have a serious conversation, but I don't think we're in our prime anymore. Moving up to the main card, opening up the main card at featherweight. Holy banger. Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. There's a reason they put this fucking fight on the main card, because this fight's going to probably be pretty sick. And I really don't know who to pick here. The Battle of the Unks, a combined age of fucking, what is that? 90? Not 90, Jesus Christ. Wait. 80, a combined combined age of like 80 years old. Fire. Um, Cub Swanson in his last fight in Miami, is he losing to Nate the Train? He fucking might. Nate the Train's a weird guy, man, when he fights, because he's a guy who puts a lot of pressure on his opponents, and he's either pressuring you in a war and beating the shit out of you, or he's getting brutally, violently chinned, and there's no in between. Besides the Dooku Choi fight, he just kind of got destroyed. He just kind of got shown levels. Morgan Charriere killed him, but Nate Landwehr was looking good in points of this fight until he died. Dan Ige, surprisingly, Dan Ige didn't chin him. Nate Landwehr actually looked pretty great in that fight. Knocked out Jamal Emmers, and then beat the shit out of Austin Lingo. I remember this fight, actually. I bet Nate Landwehr sub in this fight a long time ago. At like plus 900. That shit was fire. I remember that. That was awesome. Cub Swanson, on the other hand, lost to Andre Fili just under 2 years ago. Man, Andre Fili's looks good. I've always been an Andre Fili enjoyer and believer. I think he's really quite good. Billy Quarantillo KO'd him, or he KO'd Billy Quarantillo. I believe I predicted that as well. I think Cub Swanson was an underdog for that too, if I'm not mistaken. He looked all right there, landed a big shot. It's just really, do I think, can Cub Swanson hang with the pressure of Nate Landwehr, and can Nate Landwehr's chin handle the pressure of Cub Swanson's fists? Because Nate Landwehr's a guy, you got to hit him clean. He's got to absorb a shot and get hurt to, like, activate, if that makes any sense. In a lot of fights, you kind of see that. Like, you see, like, the Herbert Burns fight where he gets knocked out. We haven't absorbed our strike yet. We haven't been wobbled yet. We weren't activated. So instead, we just got flatline KO'd. I think this fight's going to be sick. I like Nate Landwehr, though. I kind of just want to pick Nate Landwehr just because I like him. But I don't know if Cub Swanson's losing his last fight in Miami. I don't know if he is. I'm going with Nate Landwehr. Fuck it. Nate the Train in the UFC, bro. I'm being biased for this one. Allow me to be biased. This is I'm cashing in my one unbiased ticket, and I'm picking Nate Landwehr to win by TKO in like the third round. I get one biased token per card, and this is mine. All right? No one's picking Landwehr. I hope this line flips. I hope I can get Landwehr as an underdog, because that would entice me a lot more. But yeah. Moving up to light heavyweight. With our powers combined, we still don't have a fucking chin, fellas. Dominic Reyes taking on Johnny Walker, the two chinniest guys in the division. Fire. I'm so locked in for this one. Now, I have an opinion about this fight that not a lot of people are gonna like. People see this fight and like, oh my god, I'm hammering the under. I'm not sure. I feel like both of these guys know they have no fucking chin. And both of these guys might just kind of take this fight a little tentatively and not aggress super hard because they both know they have no fucking chin. And I kind of just want to pick Johnny Walker at plus 100. I know it's insane to pick Johnny Walker, but he did beat Min Yang Zhang, which I think is actually kind of impressive. Dominic Reyes, he chinned Nikita Krylov, which is a good win. Anthony Smith is a bomb. And Dustin Jacoby just kind of got too careless. He thought he was getting a free win, and he got caught by that fucking big power hand by old Dom Reyes. Happens. Is there any logistical reason why I should pick either one of these guys to win the fight? Not fucking really. Like, I've seen Johnny Walker kind of just, like, fight fights where he is reserved and just kind of patient, and it's really weird, but he does that sometimes. Yeah, like against Anthony Smith, he just didn't commit to anything. He just kind of stood there and chilled. I kind of feel like we could do that here. I just feel like the first guy that lands clean is going to kill the other one. Now, if Johnny Walker is reckless and runs in there, that pullback left hand from fucking Dominic Reyes will probably send Johnny Walker through the cage and straight into a casket outside of the arena. But also I can just see Johnny Walker just meme catching Dominic Reyes with like a jab and killing him as well. I really don't know. I'm going with Johnny Walker because he's an underdog. I think he's a better athlete. I think he can grapple a little bit, Johnny Walker. He doesn't really use it too much, but I think he can if he wants to. Like, he has the ability to go out there and win this fight easily. He just can't get hit in the face, and neither can Dominic Reyes, though. So, I guarantee you, is anybody picking decision in this fight? No. Fuck no. No, nobody. Yeah, we legit have no chin. I'm picking Johnny Walker. Fuck it, he's an underdog in the biggest meme fight of 2026. I have to pick him. And if I lose the pick, I know I'm going to get a comedy sketch of Johnny Walker doing like a back handspring while completely unconscious under the canvas. So, it's all good. Moving up to heavyweight, Curtis Blades taking on Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett, man, is a fucking retard. Josh Hokett's a fucking retard, man. But I know he's playing a character, but he cracks me up because he makes me cringe out of my fucking skin. That fucking media day he did like 2 days ago. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. I have to go with Curtis Blades here, though, guys. I know Curtis Blades hasn't looked the world's greatest. I think he robbed Rizvan Kuniev in this matchup. Lost to Tom Aspinall, happens. KO'd Almeida. And got KO'd by Pavlovich. And then, we fluked to win over Tom Aspinall, right? Because Tom Aspinall's knee detached. Josh Hokett, though, he legitimately has not beat anybody in the UFC. He beat Denzel Freeman, who is an unranked fat heavyweight just like Josh Hokett. So I can't really pick. Logistically, I just can't pick Josh Hokett. I actually think he's pretty good, though. Good grappling. His striking's all right, but he kind of just blows the wad in the first 5 minutes. I'm not sure if he's going to be there in rounds 2 or 3, or at least anywhere near the same capacity that he comes out in round 1. Curtis Blades is a guy, been in there against a lot of guys. I think his durability is a little bit shot. Not like crazy shot or anything like that. It's just that Curtis Blades has been in there with some of the most powerful strikers in history. He's fought, Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Tom Aspinall, and Sergey Pavlovich, and he's taken shots off all these fucking guys. So, the chin's not going to be in tip-top shape after all that. He got stung by Kuniev pretty bad in that fight. But, he held tough. I don't think Josh Hokett, he's a small guy for this division. This guy's legitimately... This guy's shorter than me. This guy's got less reach than me. And we're fighting Curtis Blades? Yeah, good luck, beast. Enjoy. I just think Curtis Blades is a better boxer. Sometimes Curtis Blades' hands are a little bit slow, but sometimes they're really fucking fast. I go watch this fight, both Tom Aspinall fights. I don't know if Curtis Blades is just racist or what. He just hates white guys, but he was throwing some fucking heat at Tom Aspinall early in that fight. But then, Kuniev, his hands didn't look that great. But I'm going to go with Curtis Blades. I think he's a more powerful striker. He's got decent enough wrestling. I do think his wrestling is overrated. I said this in my breakdown when he beat Almeida. Almeida will take him down easily. And he did. He took him down 15 times or some shit in round 1. But then Almeida has no chin and just got KO'd by hammer fists. Josh Hokett could maybe have some... success with the grappling. I think he could have some success with the striking, but Curtis Blades is a pretty hard guy to finish in the first round. I think, honestly, a lot of this banks on Hokett winning in the first round, honestly, in my opinion. Maybe in the early in the second, but I think if it goes late second and third, I think Curtis Blades can have some success against just bullying around a much smaller guy. I'm gonna go with Curtis Blades here. I think he can win. I think he wins a decision here, honestly. A lot of people think by knockout. Could do, for sure. I also could see a world where Josh Hokett wins this fight, which is crazy. But, I think Curtis Blades, he's too tenured. He's too good to be minus 145 against an unranked guy. And at least with Kuniev, he had fights outside of the UFC against decent-ish comp. And he's a huge guy. So, yeah, I'm going with Curtis Blades. Okay, guys. Now, I know earlier in this video I said I get one biased pick chip to cash in, and I already cashed it in. So please hear me out when I try and sell you Paulo Costa as an underdog once more. At light heavyweight, Azamat Murzakanov taking on Paulo Costa. Oh, guys, I want to do it so bad. I want to pick Paulo Costa so bad. Is there any rhyme or reason for this logistically? Actually, yes. I think Mirzakhanov, man, like, I legit don't think he's that good. But he keeps winning. This is my problem. It's the DDP conundrum, right? Where I'm like, I just don't think he's all, like, I think he's good, but I don't think I see things in Mirzakhanov that I don't fucking like. You know, first off, we're old. Second off, we're fucking fat. Third off, we're a steroid cheat. Somehow, look at this guy and look at this guy. Which one do you think is popped for steroids twice? You'd be in for a fucking shock because it's this fucking fat slob. You know what I mean? He's a smaller guy too, which is weird. And I think Azamat Mirzakhanov actually is better. I think he fights at a better level when he's fighting guys bigger than him. I know that sounds weird, but it is like all of these guys are a lot bigger than he is. Maybe not Devin Clark so much, but Devin Clark, you know, this is 4 years ago. I remember a fight in Mirzakhanov's career against, I think it was Tafan Nchukwi. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering the guy. But he looked pretty miserable in that fight until he got the knockout. But, like, Tafan Nchukwi's horrible. And it's like I could be sold on the lighter man's skill of Paulo Costa. Like, I think Paulo Costa is a capable striker. I think he's definitely got... And I also want... Another thing, I don't feel like... And this is just kind of a feeling I have. But I don't feel like Mirzakhanov's a particularly durable guy. Something about it, I just don't like it. I know that sounds crazy. Because, you know, he has... Like, he's faced adversity, but he's not really been, like, dropped all over the place or anything. I just don't trust it. And the biggest thing for me is I think his cardio is horrible. This Dustin Jacoby fight, he looked like absolute shit in the third round. And I believe Dustin Jacoby broke his arm in this fight too. But he was death gassed in that third round. And Paulo Costa has this weird... Like, he's actually kind of good against southpaw strikers. And Mirzakhanov is a guy who does a vast majority of his work from the southpaw stance. I think... But then again, it's Costa. I don't know how locked in we are, Beast. Like, I don't know. Like, against Kopylov, I actually picked Costa as a pretty big underdog to beat Kopylov, and I'm glad I did, because he just schooled him. And Kopylov never really got started. Like, Paulo Costa might piss-mog this guy. But then, like, Rakic couldn't do it. I thought Rakic would beat Mirzakhanov, because I just, you know, don't fucking stand in front of the guy you're a half a foot taller than with 10 inches of reach on, and he gets KO'd by a fucking jab, the retard. Yeah, don't fucking... Fucking Rakic is a fucking idiot. Brits Ribeiro's a bum. Minifield's pretty good. Jacoby is legitimately a good win. Oh, guys, would you just... I think this fight... Like, I just don't know. Is he going to one-punch chin Paulo Costa? Like, can you guys see it in your mind's eye? Paulo Costa just going flatline dead from one shot? I really can't fucking do it. Can you? And Mirzakhanov's not a guy who necessarily pushes the pace either. Like, I think Costa can kind of bring it to him. I think the body kicks and the high kicks for Costa will be there. I think the hand speed of Mirzakhanov is actually better than Costa's. He's got really good hands. I think the body shots, specifically from Costa, his kick to the body, and Paulo Costa, and Mirzakhanov as well, he does this as well. They both throw really nice shots to the body. Like, when Paulo Costa's ripping hooks against the body, it makes me want to blow my wad. Like, I cannot lie to you. And I feel like as somebody, in my opinion, who has bad cardio issues, like Mirzakhanov, eats too many shots to the body, I think those could be good investment strikes for later in the fight. I want to so bad. I'm just going to pick Paulo Costa. Fuck it. Like, I don't know. I just... Let me cope, all right? But I do think there are some legitimate things he can use to win this fight there. I think the high kicks, if he spams high kicks on the arms of Mirzakhanov, I think that'll pay dividends for later on in the fight. I think if he rips hooks to the body and just keeps that high guard that he normally does, like, you can find shots on Costa, but he typically keeps his hands pretty up by his head. I think he's a way fucking stronger guy. Like, I remember when he fought Vettori at 205 when he had, like, that bicep injury or whatever, and he looked like he was, like, 300 pounds in there. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Paulo Costa by decision. I'm gonna cope. He's gonna come alive in the into the second and third round, and Mirzakhanov isn't gonna giga chin him in the first 7 minutes. Hopefully, going with Paulo Costa. Suck my balls. And closing out this card with the main event for the light heavyweight title, Yuri Procházka taking on Carlos Ulberg. Oh man. I might be biased again. I can't lie to you. Like, when I say this, I need you to understand that this is my opinion genuinely. Like, Yuri Procházka is the best fighter in the UFC right now to watch, period. I don't think anybody, like, I don't think you can argue with me on that either. This guy is legit, every single time he's in the octagon and he fights, the most electric fight on the card every single time. And he never fails to do it. He's got 32 wins, I believe. What does he have? I think he's got like 30 finishes, maybe 31 finishes. Like, I think he's got like a 98% finish rate with fucking 32 wins. And I want to pick Yuri so bad. But once again, I'm faced with, do I pick Yuri because he's just got more will to win? And I think he obviously has the skill set to beat Ulberg. It's just Ulberg, he's one of these guys who stylistically I think can match up well with Yuri because he is a guy who picks his shots and snipes at people, and he's really good at that. So I worry crashing in recklessly because, you know, Yuri Procházka, he is the guy who, you know, he's going to try and kill you, but he is going to put himself on the firing line nonstop while he's pressuring you. So it's like a, it's the King's Gambit, really, is what it is. It's just the King's Gambit. Like, he's going to lay it all on the line, and he's going to try and finish Carlos Ulberg. If Carlos Ulberg can't knock him out, I think this fight is very binary in the way it goes. It's 5 rounds. I think if Carlos Ulberg doesn't get Yuri Procházka out of there in like the first 2, maybe 2.5 rounds, he's dead. He's getting stalked up against the cage, and he's getting executed. That's just pretty much how it goes. Whereas Yuri Procházka, he needs to not get his head ripped off in like the first 10 minutes. Because I think Carlos Ulberg, I think his cardio is mid at best. I've seen him gas out multiple times. I've seen him gas out against Kennedy Nzechukwu, his one loss in the UFC. He folded under the pressure and got chinned. Granted, that's a long time ago, and I do feel like Carlos Ulberg has gotten much better, specifically with his footwork and utilizing that to get the fuck off of the cage. In that Kennedy fight, he just backed up in a straight line and got chinned. You cannot back up in a straight line against Yuri Procházka and get yourself trapped up against the cage because you're going to die. You're going to die unless you're Alex Pereira. But the thing is, Yuri's only lost to Pereira in the UFC. And I feel like if you don't have the one-punch death shot power of Alex Pereira, Yuri eats your shots. And if Yuri eats your shots, I don't know how you beat him. Like, if you can't chin him, you can't beat him. Because the guy, his will to win this fight is going to be more than Carlos Ulberg. I would bet my entire life on it. This guy's like missing the birth of his firstborn child for this title fight. Like, we might see a level of Yuri Procházka we've never seen before. He did his fight camp at Elevation for this one because he says he wants to put extra pressure on Ulberg. Like, that is a scary prospect, I can't lie. But I can so see Ulberg just pull back, straight punch into a hook, bang, bang, chinning him. I can see it. But he hasn't really shown the ability to do that lately as the competition has gotten higher. Like, Dominic Reyes, he chinned him, but Dominic Reyes doesn't really have a chin anymore. And I think Dominic Reyes doesn't have a chin anymore because Yuri Procházka broke every bone in his fucking face. Jan Blachowicz couldn't find the shot on Jan to hurt him. Very close competitive fight. People argue Jan Blachowicz won this fight. And I wouldn't argue with him about it. I think it's just a close fight, and it could have probably gone either way. Unanimous decision is kind of surprising. I thought it maybe could have been a split, but I would need to watch it back. It's been a long time. But Jan Blachowicz, the thing is, you're like, oh, he couldn't KO Blachowicz, and you expect him to KO Yuri. It's just like, it's the stylistic thing. Because Jan Blachowicz, He's a very, very good technical striker. Even this old version of Jan Blachowicz coming off of double shoulder surgery, he's a hard guy to find a shot on. Granted, Bogdan Guskov was able to do it and hurt him bad, but it's a tricky prospect. Volkan Oezdemir, another really, really, really close fight. Yuri fucking fought Volkan in his debut, by the way. How crazy is that? And he chinned him. He walked him down and chinned him with a 1-2 up against the cage. I think he's the only guy in the UFC who's done that to Oezdemir, too. Oezdemir's, like, legit underrated. Very close fight, though. Ulberg couldn't really find the shot on Volkan. He kind of gassed in the later half of this fight. Same thing as Jan Blachowicz. He kind of slowed down in that third round. So it's kind of tricky. But, this fight against Alonzo Minifield's just a retard and sprinted straight at him in the first 5 seconds and got caught. This is, I think Carlos Ulberg was probably going to win this fight 9 out of 10 times. But, this was a fluke because Minifield is just I've never seen Minifield fight like such a fucking moron in my life. Insane. And then Da Woon Jung, he went to war with Da Woon Jung and actually subbed him. And Da Woon Jung's not that great, but he's not horrible. But, the level of competition is not even fucking close. It's not even comparable, really. But I do think the style matches up really nice. But I think both of their styles match up nice, is the problem. But the reason part of me wants to pick Ulberg purely off the stylistics. Because he starts early, he's fast early, he's dangerous very early. And Yuri Procházka, he's the guy who said it himself. People, say he's kind of a slow starter. Which he is. And he said he was going to try and start faster against Ulberg. I don't necessarily like that. I don't like him coming out of the gate super hot when this guy's at his absolute best. I kind of like the slow cooking him a little bit. Just to kind of get some of the sting and the twitchiness out of this guy's shots before we start eating him clean to the chin over and over and over again. And another thing is, when you think about this fight, I said this earlier, that I feel like the first half of this fight, it's, Carlos Ulberg's chance to win, and then the latter half, it's Yuri's turn. They're taking turns, basically. Now, granted, either guy could finish either guy in any round, right? Both of these guys are top-level guys, very dangerous strikers, decent enough in the grappling. I think I would give a slight edge to Yuri Procházka, just because of his wealth of experience. I mean, the guy fucking subbed Glover Teixeira, for fuck's sake. But, I kind of want to pick Ulberg because he's going to get to, what did I say? I said they're taking turns, right? And I think Ulberg's best chance to win is in the first two and a half rounds or so. Ulberg gets to go first, I kind of feel like. I feel like Ulberg is the most live to win earlier in the fight, so he's the most likely to win earlier because he's going first. You know how it's I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say. This could be a 2-hour-long breakdown. I think he gets his advantage first in the fight. When they're fresh, when they're ready to go, when he's at 100%, he is at his most dangerous and most likely to win the fight. The fight's the most likely to be over for Carlos Ulberg at the start. So he gets his turn first. Does that make sense? I feel like I feel like I sound like a moron right now. Granted, of course, Yuri could win in the first 2 rounds as well. And I've made the mistake of just picking against Yuri Procházka, even though he's probably my favorite active fighter in the UFC right now to watch. He is just the GOAT. I've picked against him just purely off stylistics. It has happened. Or just a certain circumstances. I picked Rakic to beat him because this fight was so close after 5 months after he got chinned by Pereira. And then he just goes out there and eats every single shot Rakic throws and then just kills him. And then he gets chinned by Pereira. Then I pick him to lose to Jamal Hill because I feel like Jamal Hill's got nice straight punches, nice counter striking. I feel like he could lay in on Yuri Procházka clean. And he just shows the best head movement he ever has in his career and kills Jamal Hill. Granted, I picked him to beat Roundtree, hey. But, when I do pick against Yuri Procházka based on stylistics, he does win. So maybe I try and do an anti-hex and pick Carlos Ulberg as a dog to win so that Yuri can win. I'm just retarded. I'm going to go with Carlos Ulberg. I think he gets his turn first to win the fight, which means, you know, I don't know. I like that. I think he's pretty good. Am I coping for Carlos Ulberg right now? I think I am. But I do think he can win this fight. Like, I think 17% is a little bit underrated. And I think Ulberg's a good striker. And I think his Yuri's heavy pressure style is exactly what Carlos Ulberg wants early. He's not, like I said, he's not going to want to see that pressure style late. But early, a guy getting in his face, that's perfect for Ulberg because he's going to want to land that kill shot. I hope Yuri wins. I hope to God Yuri wins. He's one of my favorite fighters. But this whole fight week, I see everybody talking about Yuri, and it's just making me think, man, I think Ulberg might chin him. I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. I'm going with Carlos Ulberg. I'm saying he wins by KO in like rounds 1 or 2. I hope I'm wrong. I hope to the gods that I'm wrong. All right? I hope we get a fucking 5-round war where Yuri Procházka fights back after a bad first couple of rounds and then just outdogs Ulberg up against the cage and chins him. I hope that's the reality we live in this weekend. But I think Ulberg might catch him, and I hope I'm wrong. But, yeah. That's it for UFC 327, fellas. I yapped for a pretty long time, I feel like, because my throat is on fire. But, yeah, if you're watching, thank you for watching. Appreciate it, Tim. Catch you guys next time. See ya.